Hi everyone, it's Christine here from Ever After Paper Crafts, and today I want to share with you how I created this fun Halloween kind of spooky fun sky background, and also how I created the moon. So I'm going to pull the card up here so you can really get a good look at it and pay special attention to that background. It's got a purple base to it, and then we have a fun gold metallic pearlescent paint that is placed on top of that just to give it a fun look. Now it's not a starry night sky, although you definitely could do that with the stamp set and that would be adorable. In fact, I have a little night sky that is going to go on another card soon, and you can see how, how cute that would look on like a night sky with lots of stars in the sky background. But I just wanted to do something super fun today, and a little different. So I just used a couple different watercolor purple paints and some gold, beautiful gold paint on top of that. For the moon here, I just did a little bit of mixing of some watercolor paints to create that fun moon. And then these adorable little images. You've got the cute little bear there and the ghosts and the bats. All of those come from this new stamp set from Waffle, and it's called Boo. And it is so cute. It's a little 3x4 stamp set, and it is absolutely adorable. I had so much fun working with it. So let's go ahead and get started. And again, this video is not going to focus on coloring today, although I will have a list of all of the zig markers that I use. I did watercolor paint all of these images, so I will have a list on my blog of all of the marker colors that I used. And if you'd like to see these colors, just leave me a comment. I'm happy to pop on and do another video. But I just thought today we'd focus on the background. So let's go ahead and get started here. Let me move the stamp set and the card out of the way. We are going to be using our Tambi watercolor paints, and we're just going to be using number 38 and number 139 from this palette. Those are two different shades of purple. Now I've gone ahead and cut my watercolor paper. This is Canson XL watercolor paper. And by the way, the Canson comes in a pack that looks like this. So if you're looking for it in the store, this is what it looks like. They sell this at Walmart. They sell it at Michael's. You can use a coupon on it. And you can also get it at various online stores as well as Amazon.com. So, and it is, in my experience anyway, my favorite and definitely very inexpensive. So the first thing that I'm going to do here, let me back up for just a minute. I cut this out at, I didn't know how large I wanted my panel to be. I ended up using a smaller rectangle. This is the little stitched rectangle die that I used for the finished card. And as you can see, it's not quite an A2 sized card. But as I've said in many videos, I normally plan for it to be A2 size just in case I want to use the whole thing, and I can always trim it down later. So to accommodate for the tape, I do an inch bigger on each side of an A2 size. So A2 is 5.5 by 4 1/4. That's a normal standard card size. And so this then is 6.5 by 5 1/4. And again, that just accommodates for that tape there. So when you peel it off, you have plenty of room to get a full A2 size out of the watercolor that you've done. So I'm just going to go ahead now and using a clean cup of water and a clean paintbrush, I'm just going to wet the watercolor cardstock, just putting a little bit of water on there. This will help our watercolor paint spread. Now I'm going to dip into the number 38, which is the darkest of the two purples, and I'm just going to put that kind of just tapping it down. I'm just going to put it kind of around here, just a little bit around and around. Obviously no magic to this at all. I'm just tapping it here and letting it spread from the water. I'm going to come in now with the number 139, which again is the lighter of the two, although they are very similar in color. So you could really get away with just using one of these if you wanted to. But any watercolor paints that you have will work perfectly for this technique. You do not have to have the Tambi. They happen to be my favorite, but you can do this with any cheap watercolor paints that you have. You do not need anything special for this. I'm going to go back into the darker and just go back over my darker color again. You know, I really like to build these watercolor paints up. I really, really love to do that. So I just kind of keep a little outline in my head of where I've put the various colors so I can go back and load that color back on. I know I'm going to have my moon kind of over here, so it's going to be a little lighter in the middle, and that's why I'm kind of focusing the darker color to the left side of the paper mostly, although I'm putting some highlights elsewhere too. I'm going to clean my brush here in the water, come back in again, and just darken the lighter color, put the same color right on top just to darken it up a bit. and then we will go ahead and dry this. And the reason we have to get it nice and dry is because we're next going to put some gold pearlescent paint on top of this to really create that fun goldish night, spooky, whatever you want to call it, background. So I'm going to get my heat tool out now, and I'm really going to dry this really good. So bear with me for a minute here as I have this heat gun going, because you want to make this perfectly dry. If you're just doing this at home and you're not in a huge rush, just let it air dry. You absolutely don't have to pull out a heat gun for this. You can just let it air dry. Or of course you can use a hair dryer if you want. Hair dryer is going to take a little bit more time because it doesn't get quite as hot as these heat guns do, but you absolutely can get this dry with a hair dryer if you're in a hurry. But again, you can absolutely just let it air dry if you want to. Just make sure when you come back to it and you get ready to do the gold that it's nice and perfectly dry. And that's so that when we put the gold on top, it doesn't mix with the purple. We don't want it to mix with the purple and create a muddy mess. We want it to kind of lay on top of the purple that we've laid down. All right, so I got mine nice and dry. Let me just pull this up to the camera. And this in and of itself is very pretty. You could just use this if you wanted to. I know it kind of looks like a mess, but remember, once you put your little die or cut it down with your paper trimmer, however you want to do it, and then add your little figures on top, it's really not as big of a mess to worry about. It's much smaller in scale and actually looks quite lovely once you're all finished. So I'm going to move my Gansai Tambi paints out of the way for a moment, and I'm going to come in here with the Kuretake Starry Night pearlescent paints, and we are going to be using this darker gold. It's called red gold, and we're just going to literally lay this red gold right on top of what we've already created. And I know this can be scary because you don't want to mess up, of course, what you've already just done and spent time creating. But I promise you it's worth it. So get your paintbrush nice and watery, because these are pearlescent paints and they take a little bit of water to get going. And then you just want to lay it over top of your gold. Of your purple background that you've created. This is much like if you've ever done a night sky, you kind of go over everything with black at the end. Very similar idea here, very similar idea, except we're just going to hit it with some gold. And the result is going to be absolutely beautiful. I just love this. And I'm sure I am not the only one that has done this, but I honestly just quote unquote discovered, I know that's not the right word, but kind of did this by accident. I was just playing around and mixing stuff together, acting like a crazy person with my paints, just having a really good time one day, and I'm like, I wonder if this will work. And it does, and it's so pretty. The video I just recently posted before this, I used the silver, and it just had a very beautiful a beautiful look as well. All right, so now we've put lots and lots of gold on top. It doesn't look like much right now, so I'm gonna get my heat gun out again and get this nice and dry, and then I will hold it up to the camera and you will see the magic. So again, when it's all wet, you really don't see that gold shine and shimmer, but you will in just a moment, I promise. Let me just get this nice and dry here. All right, that's going to be good enough for the video. I think we're going to be able to really see this beautiful shimmery gold. And there you have it. You can see there's still some wet spots there, but you get the idea. And I just didn't want to take more of your time to finish drying it completely, but you can definitely see it. When it's dry, it's going to be beautiful. So you can definitely see how just laying that gold on top just creates a fun addition to your card. And again, here is the finished card, and you can see that gold overlay there when you tilt it in the light. When you're looking at it head on, it's purple, and then you have this beautiful gold when you tilt it in the light. It's just oh so beautiful in my opinion. I love this technique. So now I want to show you quickly how I created the moon as well. So this is still a little wet, but I'm going to peel this off of here and just set it aside to finish drawing, and I'll be able to use this on another card in the future. So I'll definitely be saving this, but I just want to quickly show you how you can mix your watercolor paints to create a fun little moon. So let me just bring my Gansai watercolor paints back over, and all I'm going to be using here is the white, which is number 10, and the black, which is number 20, and I'm going to mix those together to create a gray. And I'm going to use this little palette here to do it. This is something that was like 99 cents, I think, at Michael's, and you can really use it to kind of mix your paints together if you want to. It is very inexpensive. I just took a circle die that I had from my stash. This happens to be from Stamp It Up. They're layering circles die. And I just cut a little circle out of my Canson XL watercolor paper. And I'm just going to I'm not going to tape it down to the board, but I'm just going to use the boards so it's there for my, if I have any paint run out, it just goes on the board and not on my workspace here. So I'm putting some black, just getting some black from my brush, from the paint palette here, and putting it onto this little palette here. This plastic little palette. You could also use, if you don't have a little palette like this, you could use wrapping from a stamp set to create a little palette. You could use a craft mat. You can really use anything. Just, look around your house and see what you may have. You could use a Ziploc baggie. You can use really anything. So now I'm putting some white up here in the corner, and I'm just getting that from the Gansai Tambi number 10 white paint. Now I'm going to clean the brush off here, and now I'm going to take my brush and just mix these together to create a nice little gray. And as you can see, it's created a gray, so it's no longer black. Those two colors have mixed together to form gray. So now I'm just going to take my little circle here and run this gray kind of all around it. And that's gonna look like a dark moon, but I'm gonna hit it with my heat gun. And you're gonna see it's gonna kind of pool the gray in different places, and it's gonna kind of look like craters on the moon. So let me show you what I mean. And I'm gonna have to chase them around just a little bit for a minute here. Probably would have been better to use a little bit of repositionable tape on the back, but I didn't think about that at the time. So I'm just drying it here, and you can see some parts are a little darker than others. Like here we've got what might be a little crater, up here is a little crater, just super simple and fun. I'm now going to reach into a silver color that's on this Gansai Tambi palette here. It's number 95. You could also use the silver from that Starry Night Kuretake set that we just used with the gold if you wanted to. But I have this in front of me and it works just fine. And I'm just going over this with the silver, and you're going to see in a moment after I dry it, it's going to give this moon some nice silver sparkle and shimmer and shine to it. And it's going to have it's just going to be a really pretty addition, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Woo! See, I should have used repositional tape, but it's okay. You guys get the idea. And when you do this on your own, you can definitely just kind of tape it down lightly or something like that, so you're not chasing this circle around. But now let me show you. Hopefully this will pick it up. Yep, there you go. See that shimmer and shine on that moon there? And you can see how there's a little bit of dark here, a little bit of dark down here. So it kind of looks like craters a little bit, I guess, if you use your imagination. But that's kind of what I did here, just to create the little moon. So all you have left to do then to finish your card is you would just cut this to whatever size you wanted, and you can see that it's drying better now, and you can really see that gold in there. It's just so pretty. So what I did just to finish the card quickly, let me just walk you through it here, get my mess out of the way. And so what I did here is I have my background, of course, and I used a small rectangle stitch die from Lawn Fawn. I then glued the moon up here and then just cut the little bit that was hanging off of the rectangle. And then I colored and cut out all of my fun little critters and adhered them. I used some white embossing powder for the sentiment on black cardstock, put a little bit of gold glimmer cardstock behind it just to bring out the gold in that sky. And I used some gold sequins, a few of which are stars. And then I just cut out a bigger rectangle with a bigger die in black, and this all fits on a standard A2 size note card. So that's it, guys. I really hope that you like this and that you'll give this technique a try. It is so super easy to create these fun watercolor backgrounds, and I really think that they add so much to your project, in my opinion. I hope that you love it anyway. So let me know what you think. Leave me a comment, thumbs up, send me an email if you have any questions or just want to chat. I am here to help. So thank you guys so much for watching. Your support means everything to me. I can't thank you enough. Have a wonderful day, and I will catch you in the next video. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.